I've never had it spin this long. Hey, you've got this part of the video. There we go. We've got the live unedited edition, Home Gadget Geeks, Thursday night. It's the 18th of August, 2022, 8 p.m. in the Central Time Zone, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 9 Eastern, just to make sure we get everybody in the United States covered, and Canada, of course, because it's Canada Day. Erin, welcome. Glad you could make it.
Hi, Jim. How are you?
I mean, it's not Canada Day. It's not.
No.
When is Canada Day?
July 1st.
Is that just, were you copying our July 4th, but couldn't make it on the same day? Or
no, we wanted to be first. So we went to the first. We thought you guys could have the 4th, but it's all in the same week, which keeps everything together. It's very convenient.
It's festive. It's festive. Well, and isn't like your Thanksgiving is before ours? I think it is.
Yes,
right?
It is usually. Yes.
Yeah,
we like to lead our American friends. Christmas, I think we've got. Easter, probably the same.
December 14th. You're like, wait a minute. The Canadians are trying to be first on everything.
Oh, and we are, and we're winning.
Yeah, you are actually. You're winning right now. We'll put politics aside for a second. John wants to know: are you still doing? Let's see. Hold on, I gotta get the chat up. You still doing the van life?
We are still doing the van life. I've been extremely lazy about doing any van life updates, but yeah, we ended up selling our first van that we did a whole lot of blogging and videos about, and got a second one, and we've still got that one. We go camping as much as we can, and love it. I mean, I was a diehard tenter before until I tried my first camper van experience, and then
there's no going back.
There is no going back, and it's awesome. So yeah, love it.
Bob is being an apologist. He says Canadians do Thanksgiving earlier because, well, winter comes up earlier in the north, so you have to do harvest sooner. Well, okay, Bob.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Whatever.
Thanks, Bob.
Just trying to beat us. That's it. It's just
logical.
Envy. It's holiday. You guys have holiday.
So logical.
That's what it is. It's holiday envy. Erin, we always do a drink pour. You always have a fancy one. You're looking rather fancy tonight. What do you have for us?
Thank you. I am having a vodka martini tonight. I have put it on the rocks, though, because it is extremely hot. And as I think we've touched on before up here in Alberta, nobody has air conditioning because it doesn't ever get that hot.
No, wait a minute.
Except when it does.
I saw a review of you having an air conditioner that plugged like a portable. Is it still running? Do you have it going? Is it just for night?
It's running in the bedroom as we speak. This is the first air conditioner in my life I've ever purchased because things are warming up. It's hot. We priced out getting, central air conditioning, and it was prohibitively expensive if you don't already have it. So I went out and I thought, I'm going to find myself the best room air conditioner I can. And I picked one up, and it's running now. I reviewed it. It's on the blog in case anybody else is also shopping for relief.
Well, I was looking for them, and I saw your review, and it was just crazy how I was thinking about buying one. And then your review like popped up. I'm like, are you spying on me? Do you have my Ring cams? Are you spying on me?
It's not Alexa that's listening to you. It's
no,
me.
It's Erin.
What do people want to review?
Erin, I would call out, Erin, what should I buy next? And then the assistant would be like, you should buy a portable air or a portable air conditioner. No, I was thinking the shed, which I've kind of turned into a smoke shack out there.
Yeah.
It's got heat. I took a portable heater out there, but if it's warm for you, it's warm for us. Yeah. And I usually just have a fan, but I thought, man, how nice would it be to put a little air conditioner out there that I don't have to install a bunch of stuff for? What's your heating? Is it forced air, or you guys, what do you guys use for heating? Okay, so you have duct.
Yeah, we have forced air and we have duct. Okay. So we could put in air conditioning if we wanted to, but the whole supply chain thing has hit everything. And I think air conditioners are about 35% more expensive. Yeah. So said the estimates we got than they were last year. And of course, the labor is more expensive. And naturally, we live in an older house, so it's got some complications. And we would actually have to add a sub panel to our electrical system to accommodate it.
Yeah.
And so, the air conditioning clocks in at about depending on the model you choose, $3,000 or $4,000 Canadian.
Yep.
And then it's about the same for the electrical upgrade. So
yeah.
For the number of days and months we need it, I just thought if I can solve this problem with a portable air conditioner, we'll give it a try.
Is it working for you? And it's really one room, right?
Yeah, it's just one room.
It's just the bedroom.
And they're kind of expensive. So, well, I mean, for what you get out of it. So it was about $330 for one room.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll probably pay for itself.
That's not bad, actually. That's actually, that's not, I mean, you could buy a window unit here in the US. Those go all the way up to $1,000 for $1,200 for a window unit. Yeah. I mean, you can still get them. You can get them as cheap as $150. These are US dollars. So that's like $1 million for you, but
still expensive.
But you can get cheap ones, maybe 5,000 BTU quality. That's I think equivalent. I think the one you reviewed was 6,000. I think it was.
I think it was 6,000. Yeah. And it was rated for about 150 square feet. So, I mean, it does an okay job. I don't have anything to compare it against. I don't know if I'm supposed to be feeling like I'm in a meat locker or it's just going to take the edge off it or not. And right now I'm happy with the edge being off. So
yeah, you can sleep. You're not waking up just all ugh. Did you put a temperature gauge in the room so you kind of know, or do you feel like it did a pretty good job of monitoring the temperature in there?
I think it's pretty accurate because in our house right now, it's about 28 degrees Celsius.
Okay.
And outside it's like 31 probably still, but
that's still 28, still pretty warm. I mean, that's
I'll take that. That's a good suggestion though. I'll bring the temperature gauge, my Eve room temperature gauge.
That's the room you're in now. That's not air conditioned, right?
Correct.
You're 82. So you're probably in the 70s. For us.
Yeah. By the time it cools off, it's decent. But I'm still trying to evaluate if it would be worth it and, where our costs would sit. If I wanted to get one sort of for our living room kitchen area, which is more like, 500 square feet, 600 square feet. I think something like that would probably be a lot more expensive. And I do wonder how effective it would be. So if anybody has any thoughts or comments on that, I would love to hear them.
Did you look into, or have you looked at split? What do they call that? Hold on. Air conditioning. Split something. They're just called, they're ductless split level or split. They're a little more expensive. Shoot, hold on. Let me ductless mini splits. That's what it's called.
I have not.
I knew it had a split. It's called a mini split. And you would so think of a souped up window unit, except the fan is going to go outside. You're going to wire that in. They have 120 or they have 110 units, so you wouldn't maybe necessarily need a sub panel, because I think you're going to have to go with the sub panel because it's going to be another 220, and you probably don't have enough 220 in your house, right?
We do not.
So, so these you can get them off 110. Same thing in a room, a little more expensive, but a little better quality. You're talking probably, you're probably talking in most cases 9 to 2,500 BTUs. So probably 4 to 10 times more powerful than what you currently
the room
have.
Version.
You're talking anywhere from $800 to probably $2,000, but no rewiring, no ducts, and it just gets a room or two, kind of based on how you kind of set it up. And they have some DIY ones. I think Mr. Cooler.
All right, I'm gonna look these up.
Yeah, Mr. Cooler has the
mini splits.
Bob got that right. Thanks, Bob. I was struggling with that. He said the purchasing power of the Canadian peso to my comment about we always have to make a crack about Canadian currency while Erin is here.
It's not a crack if it's true.
That's true.
That's true. It's a fact.
How's the Canadian dollar doing against? I mean, the U.S. dollar is pretty strong right now.
Yeah. Last I checked, we're about 30%. I think it could be different because that was probably a month or two ago that I checked. We're always a little lower than the U.S. dollar. So. Yeah,
Mr. Cool. I think Bob's got it right. Bob's supporting me here, Mr. Cool. They have a Mr. Cool. They have a completely DIY solution with Mr. Cool. The lines come charged, so you literally can just put the thing. You put a unit inside the house, cut a hole, run the lines out. You hook the fan unit to the side of your house, preferably in a shaded spot, which is kind of nice. Wire it in, connect it up. It charges itself. You're off to the races. So maybe
I will look this up.
If it's going to stay, listen, if this global warming thing is here to stay, you're going to want, you're going to want some, and a mini split is a good way.
We'll need a solution at some point.
So a mini split also goes both ways. It has heat. So you could also use it as a heat supplement. It's a heat pump. So in the winter,
interesting. Okay.
Like you could shut off the house or turn down the house heat at night, just to the bare minimum, and then are you using a Nest or anything for your thermostat? Yeah. So you could program that, right?
Yeah.
Down to whatever. And then in the room, you could use the mini split to kind of keep it comfortable and a little more efficient, because that heat pump's going to be a little. Are you burning gas for your furnace?
Yeah, it is gas.
Is it natural gas? So the mini split will be a little more efficient than the
interesting.
Than the gas.
Well, I have homework to do after tonight's show.
There you go. You got some options. Expect to see it. You can send me the royalty check for all those YouTube
viewers. You and Bob. I'm going to start calling Bob Producer Bob too, by the way, because he is helping us with the show tonight.
I like that. Yeah, he says lots of YouTube videos of people installing them. That's how I know so much about mini splits. Is I was going to put a mini split in the shed. I was like, maybe I'll just put a mini split. It'll do both heating and cooling, and I'll be good. So Producer Bob, thanks for, he says 0.78-ish on the conversion rate. So yeah.
We've improved.
A little bit. So Producer Bob, thank you for doing that. I never said my drink. We are Pendleton whiskey, which is Canadian in honor of you, Erin. So Pendleton and a little bit of lemonade and retrograde, which is a superstition.
You had that last time we were on, I think.
I think I did. Did I make the same? I think I made it with bourbon, though. This time, Canadian whiskey. So it's a little lemonade.
I got to check out that lemonade and retrograde. I wrote that down after we talked last time because it sounds so interesting.
It is delicious. It is super delicious. So it's really good. I don't know if I drink it without the whiskey in it, but so that's my.
I feel that way about most sodas. So.
Tribute to Canada, a Canadian whiskey that we don't know where any of it was actually sourced. So it's okay. I mean, apparently you can do that in Canada. All right, let's kick this, guys. Thanks for coming out tonight. And Ready Set Data. I'll put your. I don't. You're on Twitch, and nobody else can see. If you want to come over on YouTube, we can see. You can do that. But thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Join us on the YouTube side of things. I can chat with you, but nobody else can chat with you. Okay, let me do this thing, Erin. Here we go. Thanks for coming out.
Ready.
This is the Average Guy Network, and you have found Home Gadget Geeks, show number 542, recorded on August 18th, 2022. Here on Home Gadget Geeks, we cover all the favorite tech gadgets that find their way into your home. And in this case, a lot of tech gadgets, news, reviews, product updates, and conversation, all for the average tech guy. I'm your host, Jim Collison, broadcasting live from the AverageGuy.tv studios here in Bellevue, Nebraska. It might actually be cooler here in Bellevue than it is where Erin is at in Canada. Erin, what's going on? Has Calgary headed south? Why is it so hot there?
I wish I knew. We must be slipping south, or maybe there's a pole shift happening and we're trading places. But it's hot up here.
I know. You guys are just struggling, miserable. It's 90. Now, listen, it'll be snowing next weekend. So
this is why we're never miserable, Jim. When it gets this hot, we have to appreciate it, because in 6 weeks or so, it'll be minus 20.
I know. I watch a Canadian beekeeper who has a big beekeeping operation, not far from you. Of course, Canada, everything's far away, but not too far from you. And he's already it's just mid-August, and he's already bringing in the bees. He's like, it's almost winter. And I was like, wait a minute, it's middle of August. And he's like, no, you don't know.
The nights are getting cold here already. We're getting maybe down to 9 degrees Celsius. which, Jim, we should be faster at these conversions.
I know.
Is that
I
like
know.
30, 40?
You said 9?
9.
Yeah, 40. That's 50 degrees.
Producer
That's
Bob,
super.
can you help us?
Producer Bob will help us with that. Which is really, really comfortable. Of course, you could open up your windows overnight, right? And would that cool?
That does help. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we had it in the pre-show, which if you just listen to the regular podcast, you may not know this, but you miss a whole pre-show that's available on YouTube. And the easiest way, I'll send you an email with all the pre-show stuff in it. If you just join us on Patreon, head out to theaverageguy.tv/Patreon. I got a $5 plan. Getting the pre-show is not worth $5, but it helps support the network, right? If you want to do it that way, shameless plug, you can do it. Or we have a YouTube channel. I think it's youtube.com/theaverageguy.tv. If you want to catch the pre-show, Erin and I spent a whole bunch of time talking about air conditioners, and she's been reviewing one on her site that's kind of portable. You can move it around the rooms. It plugs into not plugs into the window. It has like a hose that goes to the window, right?
Exhaust.
Something. Is that, it's not pulling fresh air in. It's
correct.
Yeah. It's exhausting heat outside. So you missed all that in the pre-show. If you want to grab that, you can. Big thanks to Dan Lefebvre, who joined us 2 weeks ago. I took last week off because our guest had to move his time, but Dan, of course, based on a true story podcast at basedonatruestorypodcast.com, and some interesting stuff. Make sure you get a chance. If you need something else to listen to besides Home Gadget Geeks, check out Dan, based on a true story podcast.com. Erin, big friend of the show. Welcome.
I am so glad to be here. You are my favorite podcast and my favorite podcast host. So it's always a good time when I get to hang out with you.
And down with Mike Uyghur. Down with when he left us.
Who?
Exactly. He's actually back next week. He'll be a little disappointed.
Fantastic. I'll tune in.
He'll come back next week. He'll be a little disappointed that he didn't get to be here for you. You, of course, let's talk a little bit about TechGadgetsCanada.com, but you've recently bought TechGadgetsInternational, right? .com as well. What's going on there? Am I going to have trouble like getting you on the show because you're going to be so famous?
No, it's in truth, the vast majority of the audience for the blog and the YouTube channel comes from the US and other countries, the UK. I'm trying to think of what the other top in the top 3 are.
Australia, probably, right?
No, it's somewhere in Europe. It'll come to me.
Okay.
But yeah, we have a huge international audience. And, I started a humble little blog here in Canada about 6 years ago and thought those were the only people that would want to read anything I have to say. And I've been so surprised by the amazing response from audiences all over the world. So I realized it's grown a little bigger than just Tech Gadgets in Canada. We've got a worldwide audience now. So we're trying to expand things a little bit. So you can find us on either TechGadgetsCanada.com or TechGadgetsInternational.com, just to be able to reach people where they are, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's good. I think it's a good move. And I think you're finding, and you know better than me, but you're getting most of the same. It didn't used to be this way. It used to be like there were completely separate brands and, for the US and for Canada and for Mexico. And I think maybe NAFTA changed some of those things going forward. Now, sometimes the names are different. We have Starbucks, you have Tim Hortons, but for a lot of the tech gadgets, you're getting a lot of the same gear. So that works, right? That works for you to be able to get that gear and review it.
It does. And I mean, there's sort of small exceptions to some gadgets. A lot of companies, I'm thinking Amazon mainly, will release things in the States, 6 months to a year before it arrives in Canada. So we tend to end up being the lag behind sometimes, but the gadgets are all essentially the same. I honestly think it comes down to differences in translation features and having things available in French for the French population of Canada. So I think when, with things like Amazon releasing Alexa devices, they want to make sure that French language support is there before they unleash it on all of Canada. So I think that's partly what contributes to the delays in some cases. But generally, the gadgets are all the same. And I have shamelessly traveled to the US to pick up a gadget that was not yet available in Canada and brought it home. And they tend to work just fine.
Producer Bob is giving you some advice. He says US Post box for the win. Although
Yes.
that wouldn't have helped during the pandemic because they shut the
No.
border down.
You would have had a whole pile of packages you just could not get.
How sad would that have been to just have a pile up? You would have gotten there and had things that were, you would have had like a Pixel 4.
Right.
And you're like, no.
2 years old and you're like,
can't really review. You've been messing around with these picture frame TVs, and you've got a post that's coming out here in the next couple days. What's the attraction to these things? I mean, yeah, I know it can be a TV and a picture, but do you really need that? I mean, why do you like them, or maybe you don't?
No, I do like them. I am admittedly a huge fan of the Samsung Frame TV. I got a chance to review the first one back in about 2019. And I thought kind of the same thing, like, big deal. It's a TV. You put some pictures on it and, it's kind of like a screensaver. But it's really more than that. The way our house is, it's kind of small, and I've never really wanted a TV in the living room area simply because it's so compact, and TVs, historically have taken up a lot of space, and you need furniture, and, they tend to be this dark eyesore that when they're turned off, it's just a giant black hole in your room. So that's me being kind of a decor snob, I guess, about it, that I just didn't want that in our already small living space. But when the Frame TV came out, I was really curious because I really wanted to see if it would live up to this hype of kind of disappearing into your space. So the premise of it is that it's supposed to look legitimately like you have a painting or some type of artwork or photography hanging on your wall, and you're never supposed to know that it's actually a TV. And the way you do this is it's called the One Connect box. And it's a box that's on the end of this really thin, narrow cord that you can, if you put conduit in your wall, you can hide it in the wall, or you can just sort of snake it down the wall. It's almost invisible, almost, but not quite. And then the peripheral box can kind of go in a cabinet or in another room or somewhere else so that you don't see it. And if you install it correctly, it legit looks like art or a painting. And I've had many people come into the house, sit in front of it for, a couple of hours and never notice it. And finally at the end of the night go, there's no way that's a TV, is it? And they're always shocked. So then I got to fire it up, and it's a 4K TV, and, it's got streaming and Netflix and everything else. So I love the concept. And I think the TV is also really great. I know a lot of people will gripe about, the OLED TV or OLED TVs are far superior and, brighter nits and, more contrast and whatever. But, if you just want to watch TV now and then, it's a perfect way to hide it. And I think the iteration since that first one that I talked about, they did another one in 2021 and then a new one this year in 2022, which is the one I'm reviewing. They've been making improvements the whole way along. So I feel like I just said a lot there about the Frame TV, Jim. Yeah, no, I like it. The question I'd have for you, when you have your TV on, it's got kind of that shiny that art doesn't have. Is this a different, glare. Do they do something? Yeah. Do they do something different to kind of keep this so it actually looks like art? Great question. That's exactly what they do. They've got an anti-glare glass on it. And this is kind of the key iteration that they've made up to now with the 2022 version is the glass has been improved each time. And the last one I bought was the 2021, and I had it in my house in my living room. And it looked fantastic. I mean, there was barely any glare. Even if you have a framed painting or a photograph in your room, you're probably going to have a sheet of glass in front of it and you're going to get glare off it. So a little bit of glare is fine. When I ended up buying the 2022 Frame TV, I thought, you know what? It's probably not going to be that worth it, but it's one of my most popular review topics that whenever I put something up about the Frame TV, it's just a monster. So many people are interested in it. So I thought, for the sake of the audience here, I'm going to splash out and get the new Frame TV, the 2022 version, and just see if it's actually worth it, if there's actually any improvement to it. And it's actually shocking how much less glare and more naturally it fades into the room. I was really surprised by how much better it looks in the room, even over just, the model from the previous year.
It'll set you back about 1,000. Is that 1,000 to 1,100, 1,200, something like that?
That's the US price. Yeah. The one, depending if you want like 55, 65 inch, I think the one we got was about 23 or 400 Canadian for the 65 inch.
Okay. 65.
So not inexpensive. You can certainly get less expensive TVs of the same size and probably similar quality, but it's that art mode that really makes the difference. And the anti-glare screen is just huge.
Can you see it switch? So when you're in art mode and then you're just watching TV, does it affect the TV viewing? Does that look okay for you? I'm assuming it does, but does it look okay for you?
Yeah, it's fine. It's a quick switch from art mode to TV viewing, and you can set up different things on it too, where so a lot of people ask me about the energy use and, do you want to have the screen on all the time and is it going to get burn in? There's another feature of it too that has a motion sensor in it. So it'll actually shut the TV off to that black screen. But the moment it detects any movement, it fires it up so fast that I think we had the TV for about a month and I was convinced that the motion detection wasn't working on it because every time I'd come in the room, it was on. And I started to get really ticked off because I'm like, damn it, I want it to shut off like at night. It should just be turning off. And so I kind of devised a little experiment where I set the timer for that feature to like the lowest possible. It's like 1 minute or whatever. And I stood in the hallway and I was like, you better go off. And then I like really slowly crept into the room, like trying not to make any movement. And I caught it coming on. So I was like, all right, it works. Yay.
You're like, I tricked it. I tricked it. So would you game on it? Or have you gamed on it?
But no, I have not. I don't know much about gaming, so I don't actually know if it would be a good gaming TV. Okay. But I mean, on the flip side of the art mode, it's a high quality 4K resolution TV. I mean, you can get it into sizes, I think up to 6 or 75 inches or maybe bigger. So, I mean, if it fits in your space, I don't see why it wouldn't work for that. I'm not quite sure what the refresh rate is though.
Yeah. So, but you said 4K, probably at 60 hertz, I would imagine. Yeah. But maybe there's 120 in there.
Or maybe that's coming in the 2023 Samsung Frame TV.
They'll hold off. They'll hold off. Do you think we'll get to a point where just every TV's got some kind of? I mean, I know they have that today. I guess not. I guess this is special enough that it's going to be its own. It's going to be its own class, its own category. I would imagine.
Well, LG tried to put out. I think they called theirs gallery mode. And I did review one of their very recent gallery mode OLED TVs, OLED. And I was actually really disappointed with it. I mean, the TV is fantastic. Can't complain about the video quality whatsoever. But the art mode just looks like a screensaver. So it's not the same kind of dupe that you're getting with the frame. There's not that anti-glare glass. There's not the same high quality artwork and some of the other modes where you can sort of put a mat around the artwork in the frame. You can also buy add-on magnetic like wood frames or white frames or decorative art frames so that it really helps that TV blend into your space. It legit looks more like an artwork than anything else. So LG did really try, and it's the other thing about their screensaver is it won't hold one image up for very long. It's trying to avoid burn-in. So it goes to black and then it puts up another image, and then it goes to black and then it puts up another image. So it's really like a computer screensaver. So if you're trying to get that, nobody will ever know, you can't do that with the LG TV version. So,
well, good piece.
It's not long before everybody tries a version of this in some way.
Good piece of art costs quite a bit. So in this case, you could have multiple pieces of art. I imagine you can get a bunch of different things to put on there. Sounds pretty cool. That just wouldn't appeal to me, but if that's working for you, Erin, you know what does? You know, it does appeal to me though. Last time you were on here, we talked about grills, right? Because I was just getting ready to buy the pellet grill. Either I just bought it or I was getting ready to buy it, or I'd ordered it, whatever. And I think Mark Robson had talked me into that either after, before. He might have been the show before you. And so that's come in. I've done a lot on this, but you know, you get a new grill, and I started looking at it's really a pellet smoker is really what it is, pellet grill. I started looking at the old one, you know, and you kind of like, oh, maybe it's time
Looks a little shabby.
Maybe it's time to replace. You got an opportunity to look at this Weber Genesis smart grill. Weber has really stepped it up. Like I have noticed lately, they're going after Traeger or whatever, right? Big time, trying to get their place in the space. Did you actually get one of these, or is this a shot that you took from the hardware store? Did you get one?
No, I got one. I got to have one in my yard to test it out and review and do all the cooking that I would ordinarily do on it. Some assembly was required. I will say, if you've never assembled a barbecue or a grill, try not to. It is possible for normal humans, but it took us probably about 2 hours, if I remember correctly. And, you know, there's a lot of small parts and connections you need to make and things like that. So, but yeah, in the end, it was a really cool experience. I have not had a new barbecue in many years. And I was a bit shocked about how some of the technology, not only the technology has changed, but just the quality of the build and, you know, the different burners and the drippings trays and the cupboards and things that it comes with. And it's, you know, it's on nice wheels and casters. And yeah, the smart technology though is something else.
Yeah, they have really amped up. And you know, I've got a Weber, and Weber bought iGrill. So all that technology that they bought from iGrill is coming into their new units. And so you kind of see here their temperature pieces the temperature probes coming in. And then of course the app, the Weber app works on these as well as on their thermometers and such. But it just gives you a great opportunity to kind of see what Weber's doing. What were you cooking on before? Or did you have a grill before?
My husband has 2 or 3 smokers, various different smokers. He's had is it a big steel egg or a keg or something like that?
Yeah. The green egg. I think the green egg.
The green egg, something like that. And then we had another smaller version of that, but we haven't had a gas grill in probably 10 years because he prefers to smoke the food. And I've always struggled with it. I find I don't have really good success keeping a fire going and getting the coals hot enough to sort of, you know, grill a steak or sustain barbecuing a chicken. So when we had the chance to try out this gas grill, I thought, well, this is great because it's so hot in our house, like we were saying, and turning on the oven is just unwanted. I thought this is a great opportunity to try a gas grill again. And I really liked it. I think the build quality of these new grills is top notch. There's a lot of little extras on it. You can sort of add on a few things to the Genesis line in particular, and sort of build the type of grill you want. The one I ended up trying is kind of top of the line as far as Genesis grills go. So it's got some cabinetry and some storage in it. It's got a really handy drip tray that you can sort of swap in and out and replace it with foil liners. It's got little things to hang your barbecue stuff on. It's got an internal temperature probe inside the lid, which I've never had in a barbecue before. And it's huge to be able to look at your phone or the monitor on the front of the barbecue and just see sort of what the temperature is at a glance.
Yeah, really, I think the smart in this for folks that are thinking about this is they took all that iGrill technology, all the Wi-Fi temperature probe stuff, and then built it into the grill. And so the version you had, how many probes come off of how many plugins do they have for probes?
Right.
For you?
So the way it works, there's room for 2 probes. One comes with the grill, but if anybody who's familiar with that iGrill concept, it's essentially a thermometer probe, kind of like a giant needle and it plugs into a module. I guess you could call it a connected module that's connected to Wi-Fi. In the iGrill version, it's sort of a standalone puck that you can just plug it into and then walk away, and maybe it connects to your phone or maybe it comes with you. In the Weber Genesis line, that module is actually built into the front of the grill, so it stays with the grill. You still plug in that wired probe into your food and then toss it on the grill. The other end goes into the front of the module on the barbecue, and then the whole thing connects to that Weber app. So you've got your ambient grill temperature, you've got the internal temperature of the food, and if you're cooking more than one thing, you can track up to 2 different temperatures at the same time.
Alerts, the app will do all kinds of things for you, kind of the smarts in the app. Is it, and I can't remember, does that connect to your phone via Bluetooth, or does it go Wi-Fi? What do they do? Do you remember what they're using to?
I believe now you've put me on the spot because I don't remember. I think it's Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And the alerts I wasn't super thrilled with, actually, only because, and maybe this is an iPhone thing, they come in as push notifications and they're not audible. They're not persistent, really. So if you're not watching your phone, it's really easy to miss the notifications.
Yeah.
I would love to know if it's a little better experience on Android, if you're sort of getting lights and sirens going off, like flip your meat, take it off. But with the iPhone, I kind of had to keep the app open and on my phone and keep my phone in front of me so I would get those push notifications. But yeah, the app is actually really good with things like recipes and walking you through cooking. So if you're not a confident barbecuer, but you would like to be, the app can sort of take you through, how to barbecue that chicken and what should the temperature be. And, here are some tips for, getting a good grill experience. So it's kind of helpful for newer folks who might not have that experience. I will say, though, the one big takeaway I had from using a smart grill is that you still need to be present and you still need to double check. We took a chicken off one night and cut into it, and like half the chicken was not as cooked as the other half. The half with the probe said it was cooked, but when we split it open, the other half was not. So that's where you've kind of still got to have, just one of those wireless instant read temperature thermometers. That's the word I'm looking for. Have one of those handy, and you've still got to check your food, because sure, the iGrill technology will tell you, yes, in this exact spot in this whole chicken, it is cooked. But if it's not the whole chicken, that's kind of up to you to figure out. So smart technology will get you a long way, but it's not the be all end all.
Yeah, it's good. That's good advice. On the Pit Boss that I bought, I actually took it, and it's not smart. So I use the meter probes, and they have, the ambience on the back, the temperature probes on the front. So you get 2 in 1. It's completely, I think it's Bluetooth based. So it goes from the probe to its base station, and you connect the base station to either your phone or a computer or whatever you want to do. And then once it's connected there, it goes to the cloud. So you can literally, once you have a connection that's internet enabled, all that will serve the cloud, which I really, really like. So I didn't need the temperature probes on. That's kind of why I didn't buy the Wi-Fi enabled on the device, because I'm going to come off the probes that are closest to the meat to get that done.
Right.
So then I took it has 2 temperature probes on there that are just local, right? And I wired them up on the inside of the grill, one on the left and one on the right, so that I could get, and there's about a 40 or 50 degree difference on my grill between the sides, even though the flame is in the middle. For whatever reason, one side's cooler than the other. Kind of helps me monitor things and keep track of stuff, and know, okay, if I want to get this cooking a little bit faster, slide it to the right. If I want to get it, slow it down, I sing to the left, to the left, to the left, right? So just it gives me those probes are always then visible on the grill itself. So as I'm grilling, I kind of know what the internal, and then there's also an internal temp. So I have 3 different temps that are ambient, right? That are
You're
ambient.
the master.
And then I could do the meter probe, and I have that iGrill single. I have an iGrill single that I could put into another piece of meat if I wanted to monitor that on a separate app. On the iGrill app, if you do turn on your notifications, it will make it the alarm settings you give it. It will make a little sound. It's not great, but it will make a sound for you. The meter is much better at informing you, hey, you can set it. I want to be 5 minutes away or 30 minutes away or whatever from when it's getting close, and it's got some smarts, like it kind of measures some things to say, hey, as you're getting close, it can predict.
Do you get audible alerts from Meter now?
You do. I do.
You do? Okay.
Yeah,
I reviewed one of those about, oh gosh, it was probably 5 or 6 years ago now. Yeah. And it was kind of the same situation where they were sort of passive push notifications and I wasn't getting them. Yeah. We could just blame Apple for this.
I think it's the iPhone because I get the audible. The Mac is close enough that it's the base station. So, the Mac sits just on the other side of the wall from the grill. And so with the meter, I can actually have the Mac doing it and then serving it to everything else. Then I get an audible alert. I can hear it on the Mac. I get an audible alert and I'm like, okay. Now, listen, I'm watching these things when I'm cooking. Like I'm watching them pretty carefully. I'm not that good. So it gives me an opportunity to kind of, but you're right. You need to stay engaged, right? You need to stay
100%.
You need to stay engaged with it. Well, so you get to keep it? Is this going to be your new grill going forward, or do you have to give it back?
I think I get to keep it. It's still here. I'm just kind of pretending it's not.
Exactly.
Like what grill?
The reviewers shuffle, where you're kind of like, what thing that you sent me? Like, oh, you really want? I threw the box away. Could you send me?
Well, if I think about it, it arrived in like a massive box, all packed into about 300 pieces. So it would be, either very difficult to ship, or I'd have to disassemble it. At that point, I'll write you a check.
Yeah. The crazy thing, speaking of writing a check, the crazy things about grills. So 96, when I bought my first house here in Nebraska, 96, paid $126 for a Sunbeam grill that in the day, if the most I could have spent was like $300. Like they just didn't make grills that were that expensive, right?
They were 96. Simple. Yep.
Yeah, they were pretty simple. And you might be able to spend, $4.99 and get, some big deluxe thing, but you just couldn't do that. Today, like you can drop $2,000 easy on a grill. The one I think you're looking at, this Weber Genesis, $1,200 to $1,500. Is that an appropriate price range?
Right. Yeah.
Like
I said, there's different models of it without all the storage, and I think with fewer burners, so you can kind of size up or down as you want. So that does help.
Producer Bob has said, I like that. Thank you for giving him that. From here on out, he's going to be Producer Bob. So Producer Bob says Thermapen has saved me from serving undercooked food. And that's even with these temperature probes, right? A good instant read thermometer, or you check it in a few spots. Do you guys have a good instant read thermometer that you use too for when you're?
We do. Yeah. We've got a couple of them stuck to the fridge and stuck to the barbecue.
Yeah. Well, while you're outside and you're grilling, you got to worry about bugs, right? And so there's this. Now I've seen these before, but it looks like you reviewed, and this is the one I have, is the little personal version, the little green Thermacell. This looks like a monster. Have you been? Did this work for you? I mean, it's Canada, so there's got to be 1,000 mosquitoes. Are these?
And they're the size of hummingbirds. Yes.
Yeah. No. Right on.
Funny you said you've seen these before, because I had never seen this and was not familiar with this concept before this summer. So when
it's fairly
Thermacell sort of sent me an email. Yeah. Is it okay? Thermacell sent me an email and said like, "Oh, you've got to check out our mosquito repelling device." And I was kind of like, that won't work. No, why?
Wow, you're mean.
So, well, I didn't say that to them. I said that more to myself. But yeah, I was very skeptical. I just thought, I've owned numerous things that all purport to kill bugs and keep mosquitoes away and stuff. And a lot of them don't work. Some of them work intermittently. So I was skeptical, but I got it. And then it arrived, I think, in May. And I don't think it got over 60 degrees Fahrenheit until about July 10th in Calgary. So we had no mosquitoes. So I was desperate to test it out. I finally was able to take it out camping for a weekend. And, you know, the way this concept works is it comes with these little cartridges, and the cartridges sit in this sort of egg-shaped device that is rechargeable. You pop the cartridge in, and it's got a chemical inside the cartridge. And what the rechargeable battery will do is sort of heat the cartridge, or heat what's in the cartridge, the liquid, and it disperses it through, you know, a decent sized area. I forget what the radius is. That's the name of the product, by the way, too. Thermacell Radius.
Mm-hmm.
And it's supposed to create sort of this cone of, I don't know, safety, where you're not going to get bitten by bugs. So we fired it up one night by the campfire, and I was so skeptical. And it was a bad and buggy night. We were constantly like slapping ourselves and just dying from all the mosquitoes. After about 15 minutes, we started to realize that we're not slapping ourselves constantly. And there was about 6 of us. So I said, like, is it just me, or did the mosquitoes actually die down? And everybody went, you're right. No, I haven't been bitten in a while. No, they're not biting me now. And so we left it running for the rest of the night while we sat by the campfire. It kept the whole area bug free. And then I was like, it must have been, maybe it was the beer. We drank too much beer. We were probably just, you know, placebo effect. I don't know what it would have. I'm like, no, we'll try it again tomorrow. We tried it again the next day. Same thing. It takes about 15 minutes to warm up, but it repels the mosquitoes. It did. To answer your initial question, Jim, it did work. In my experience, it works. I was floored, and I can highly recommend the Thermacell Radius.
Wow. Spoken like a true Canadian. I like that. I mean, listen, we have one too. The version we bought is this small. Well, hold on. I'm saying this small. I'm not even showing the screen. So this small handheld version, actually same kind of parameter, different, a little bit different setup. Yours has a little bug catcher and some things in it and some other, right? The idea is the same. You put that canister in it, you click the button, and it fires up a little, you know, a little flame, not even a flame, but a little, I don't even know what
almost
to call
like a
it.
light.
Yeah, it's just like you look inside the window, and if it's orange, you're in good shape, right? It's heat. And then that heats up this blue pad that you're seeing here on the screen. And then that has the mosquito repellent stuff that comes out of it. They say no flame. Yeah, okay, it's warm. It's, you know, it's still hot. There's still, I mean, I've watched the stuff kind of drift out of it, and it creates like a 15-foot radius around you. This is the same. This has the same kind of, so we look at same kind of 15-foot zone around you. But
yeah, I think that's about what the other one does too.
And the other one on your picture looks, it looked surprisingly bigger than I thought it was. This is a pretty small, like this, you can hold this in your hand, right?
Yeah, it's not much bigger. I mean, if you sort of stacked 2 grapefruits one on top of the other, I mean, it would maybe be about that big. It's super portable. I mean, you could put it in a backpack or a bag and go to the beach or go camping. And it was quite light. So I thought it was great. I learned something new this summer, and will be going back to Thermacell for all my mosquito needs in the future.
What's nice about it, it doesn't stink, which everything, you know, you do, if you think about the other citronella candles,
a
fire,
no zapping with this either. There's no smoke.
You get, and producer Bob was asking in the chat room, how expensive are the refills? And I think so I think they're not terribly expensive, Bob. You can look, it's kind of based on what you buy, just to be honest. They have different kinds of refills for different products. So it would be worth
different durations as well. And I think like a 20-hour or a 40-hour duration one might be 20 or 30 bucks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, not inexpensive, but if it works and it's going to keep the mosquitoes away from you, for a whole weekend kind of thing, that's probably worth it.
I was watching a YouTuber who does a lot of camping, and that's the first thing. He sets up the tent, and then he turns this thing on, sets it in the corner of the tent to clear the bugs out of the tent. And he said, I can't do what I do without this. And I was like, okay, I'm going to buy. I think I bought in best time, of course, to buy these things are at the end of the year, right? Because they clearance them out, right? Including the refills. And you can get, like Erin said, I think you can buy like 8, 16, 24, 40 hours worth of supplies. Basically, you're buying that tube that's got the oil, that's got the combustible stuff in it, and then whatever mat that the individual device uses to emit this, whatever it is, that this repellent that comes out. And it's actually really easy, and there's very little smell, and you're right, just set it in the middle of the table and kind of forget about it.
It doesn't make noise and it doesn't buzz. Like, the zapper items that are actually electrically killing them. I mean, that can be kind of distracting and not super pleasant around the dinner table. So the fact this is quiet and there's no chemicals, and I mean, folks in the chat room are saying that it's worked for them too. So I'm kind of surprised at myself that I hadn't heard about this technology before this summer. But
here's a refill for yours, and talking $20, and I think
there we go for a 40-hour refill.
Yeah, yep,
$20.
Where does it say for?
So that's
right on the top.
Weekend worth.
Yeah, and you know what I found is I didn't have them on as long as I thought I would. You think 40 hours a weekend. No, that's probably 2 or 3 weekends worth, because you're going to be outside. I mean, you turn them on in the evening when the mosquitoes come out, right? In a lot of cases, maybe they're not out during the day, or you're wanting to sit on the deck or sit outside. So, even at 8 hours, right? I mean, that gets you a couple days,
3 days,
3, 4, 5 days in there, depending on how long you use it for. So yeah, this is one of those, you could set it in the middle of the table and have dinner around it, and you wouldn't feel like, like you're eating DEET or
exactly.
Right, because you've done that, right?
That's not going to ruin your appetite.
You've sprayed on bug repellent, right?
Oh, I know so many people that just hate that. Yeah, it gets in your mouth and it feels sticky, and you want to.
Yeah, and it kind of permeates everything, and then you're like, if you go to eat anything, you're like, am I eating DEET? And so it kind of. It's kind of one of those things. So I think, I was glad when I saw this product. I was kind of glad you'd given it a shot, because I was like you, not a lot of people are talking about it. It's available in every big box, Home Depot, Lowe's.
I was surprised at the wide availability.
Yeah. Well, it's a name brand, and you can get them anywhere. So now would be the time if you're thinking about buying one of these. And just start small. Get yours was $20. I think the one I bought was $15, something like that. 10. I got it.
In Canada, they're far more expensive. I think they're closer to $80 or $90
for
the size I got, and it's about $35. Actually, I wrote this down for you, Jim. $89 Canadian and $35 US. How is that for price discrepancy?
How is that even fair? So yeah, 35
here. First, you get all of the products cheaper.
Well, and the one I bought is 22. Like if you're just needing something small, and we take this device and put it in just on the center of the table, and it does the same thing.
Yeah.
So
same effect.
You can, same kind of deal. So good way to get in. This is $1 million in Canada. Sorry about that. And if you want to try that out, I'd love to hear in the YouTube comments, if you're watching this on YouTube or in chat right now, if you've tried this before, Joe says he thinks that we watch the same YouTuber. It's very possible. Producer Bob says, lovely smell of burnt insects. I'm putting a Thermacell in my cart right now, even though he's Canadian. He's still doing it, so good job. And then Producer Bob also says deep flavored. You know, we one of the things we did with the smoker, the Pit Boss smoker that I got, is we enjoyed some drinks and a few cigars on the deck while we were making jerky. There's nothing more delightful than some smoky, some smoky, delicious beef, or I made jerky. Mark Robson talked me into making some jerky out of brisket. There's something about that whole experience, and it helps keep the bugs down because you got the smoke going around you. So that grill, or the grill, the Weber grill you got, probably won't smoke as well. You'll need to get a smoking tube for it if you want to smoke.
Yes,
but you have pellets. You already have a bunch of pellet smokers, right?
Right. We've got a couple barbecues yet that give us all the smoking we need to do.
Yeah. But there's something, I guess I just discovered that there's something great about sitting on the deck and just having that smoke just kind of off around you, and keeps the bugs down.
Relaxing.
As well. Okay. We have talked in the time that you've been on here, every show we talk about a robot of some kind, whether it's a vacuum, and Ed, you don't have to buy this robot, but you might want to think about it. So we talked about vacuum. We talked about mowers. I think we've even talked about a drink robot that'll mix drinks for you. Maybe.
Yes, we did.
But this TM6 smart cooking robot, what's happening now?
What is happening in my kitchen?
What's happening?
This is a cool concept, and this was a device that I was introduced to by someone else and hadn't heard of it before a few years ago. But it's made by a company called Thermomix, and Thermomix is absolutely massive in Europe and Australia. You know, they're in every commercial kitchen. They're in so many homes. And the concept of the device is it kind of looks like a really big blender crossed with a food processor. But what it does, it's sort of more than just a blending device. It's got heat built in, so it will actually cook things for you. So the way it works is it has these guided recipes, and it connects to Wi-Fi. This new TM6 version of the robot connects to Wi-Fi, and then you essentially pick out a recipe, load up the recipe into the machine, and then it walks you through step by step everything you need to do to create this meal or just a dish. And so if you're making, let's say, risotto, it's going to start you off by grating the cheese in the machine, and then you sort of dump it out of the bowl, set it aside in a bowl. Then it asks you to put in an onion. It's going to chop the onion for you, ask you to put in some butter. And it also, there's a scale built into it. So it says, it wants 30 grams of butter. So you drop that in, and then it tells you, okay, I'm going to heat this up, and it'll saute the onions now in the butter, and it'll time it itself. So it's got this little alarm that goes off when, and the alarm isn't alarming, by the way. It's kind of this nice soft sound that just lets you know time to move on. And so it takes you through all of these things step by step. It tells you exactly what to do, and it does all of the work for you. So we were talking about, how a smart barbecue can kind of take the intimidation out of barbecuing. This kind of does the same thing with cooking. So I tried a whole bunch of different recipes in it. A lot of folks are intimidated by baking and making things like dough or bread dough. The Thermomix makes the dough for you, and then it proofs it because it's got that heat and the steam. So you set it in this basket on top of the Thermomix device, and it'll warm it up and, heat it to proof it. And then you finish it off in your oven. So there's almost nothing I found, like a recipe that I was looking for, that I couldn't find was already programmed into the Thermomix. So if you think about a world of recipes and you can make whatever you want, you just have to pick up the ingredients, this machine will cook it for you. It's quite incredible, and I've really been enjoying it. I actually have owned one. I owned the previous version for about 4 years, I think, and this one came out probably within the last year or two. I'm probably a little behind on trying it, but I decided to upgrade to the new TM6 version, and it's got a few new bells and whistles and some changes and some upgrades. The Wi-Fi is built into this robot, where before you sort of needed this plug-in chip almost to make that work. So this one's a lot smarter. It's got a bigger screen on it. It's a color screen now. Yeah, just a bunch of sort of improvements that make it a little more user-friendly and more versatile.
So, I'm a huge HelloFresh fan, right? You know that. Yes, we've talked about HelloFresh. Dude. We are in we just made HelloFresh tonight. And and I love cooking that way, primarily because it's just drop dead easy, right? You get pre-measured ingredients, you just put them together. It's really hard to mess up. And we've gotten to the point now where we're going, so it's like, okay, we have this meal. What else can we add to it? Last night we made some kind of pork bowl, right? It was rice and pork and some other stuff.
Oh, yum.
And I'm like, oh, we need toasted almonds. So then I got a pan out, made some toasted almonds, right? Yeah, add them in there. So we're getting good at this. The picture I was showing on the screen, I always, like when I imagine these devices, these robots, I always think of just grinders and cutters and mixers. You've got a picture of a fish, like you're cooking fish with broccoli there. Are you steaming it? What is this thing doing?
Great question. So there's another component that comes with the machine. So I was talking about the base with the bowl that looks like the giant blender. There's sort of another component, and it's a steamer basket concept, and the steamer basket is layered. So you set the steamer basket over the top of the bowl, put water in the bowl, and it steams it. And then there's sort of a lid that'll cover it. So you can you can steam fish and vegetables together. You can do potatoes. I have baked cakes in the steamer basket of the Thermomix, sticky toffee puddings, and they're absolutely outstanding. So it's just another way to cook. You can also, it's got like a rice cooker setting. And I'm a decent cook, but I always flunk at rice. I suck at cooking rice in the pot. It's always mushy. It's always sticky. I eat it. I'm like, feed the rest of the dogs. So I've been trying the rice cooker setting on the Thermomix TM6, and it is perfect. It is so perfect. So I love using that setting. It's got other sort of automatic programs too for things like eggs. You can use it as a kettle if you want. They've also brought out this new attachment for it, which is a peeler. So it can actually peel any hard vegetable or fruit inside the machine. You just sort of set this disc in the bottom of it, and it's got it looks almost like a grater. And then you put water into it, and it just swishes everything around. That's chopped celery, Jim. There's another photo of the peeler attachment. It might be further.
Oh, you said peeler. Sorry. I just...
Yeah.
Let's see.
So it swishes the vegetables around in the water, and it goes for about probably 10 minutes or so. And then in that time, it peels the fruit or vegetable completely. No. Back down, I think there's the peeler attachment right there. That's the blade. So the blade is kind of this wavy grater looking attachment. And I think, Jim, if you go back down, there's a photo of some potatoes that I peeled. And it's just such a cool time saver because you can tuck the vegetables or the carrots or your apples or whatever, put them in the bowl, walk away right there, Jim. You can walk away from it and come back, and you don't have to sort of sit there. Like, this would be great if you're doing Christmas dinner. You can just load this bowl up with potatoes, walk away, come back in 10 minutes, and all your peeling is done. So super handy and quite effective little attachment for this device.
Do you think big family like something like this would struggle, or could you do big meals on this as well, or does it kind of cater to the 2 to 4 crowd?
Oh no, I think you could probably do a lot of big meals. I mean, you can do a ton of rice in this. So, I mean, you wouldn't be able to sort of do everything at once necessarily, but you could certainly do like steamed vegetables in the main basket. You could do potatoes in the layer underneath the fish, which is in the top. It also does meatballs too. So it has you mix up the meatball meat in the bowl, and then you'll roll them up and then lay them in the steamer basket and steam the meatballs. Now, steamed meatballs can be a little pasty looking. Spoiler alert. But they taste fantastic. And if you're kind of putting them in sauce anyway, it doesn't really matter. You can also just give them a little broil in the oven too. But you could easily make, spaghetti and meatballs for a family of 6 or more in this device quite easily.
Yeah. A couple comments coming in from the chat room. Brian says, this is the start of Rosie from the Jetsons cooking dinner. Do you get that, Erin? Do you get that feeling like you're at the beginning of the Jetsons? By the way, George Jetson was just born the other day. I think his birthday was like July something 2022 in the cartoons. So somewhere in the world, George Jetson has been born at this point. Yes. But Bob says it seems like most of these cook it yourself are very frying pan centric. Is HelloFresh the same? Yes, it is. It says we tried a few of those, got tired of frying pan food. We get around that by grilling it. So if you want to get out of the pan, we've tried a couple different ways of frying it. I mean, during the winter, it's kind of nice to not have to go outside and go to the grill and being able to do it in the pan. Either broiling it or one of the baking. It's amazing what you can do with a quick sear and then throw it in the oven for the rest of it and kind of do it. By the way, your meter would work that way too if you want to do it that way. So
hey, there we go.
It's a good way to get it done. So Bob, yes, if you're going to go with something like that, he says, producer Bob, 1,500 US, 2,000 Canadian. Is that accurate?
That's the price, and it is expensive, and I know that's out of reach for a lot of folks.
Yeah.
The way I've kind of been thinking about it is if you don't need to buy a rice cooker, a blender, a food processor, hand blender, beaters, what else does it do? Steamer basket. Those small appliances add up quickly and they take up a lot of space. Yeah. So I've gotten rid of quite a few smaller appliances having the Thermomix. We used to have a slow cooker, but the Thermomix it'll do slow cooking now. It'll ferment and it'll actually sous vide too, which I have not tried yet.
Wow.
But I mean, I've got 2 sous vide cookers hanging around the house just from having reviewed them in the past. I don't need them anymore. This will do it for me. So I mean, if you think of it that way.
You would fill it up with water and just set a temp, and then you could in the pot, then put the meat in plastic in the pot, let it sous vide to the right temperature, and then throw it on and sear it if you want to get.
In a lot of cases, you can do it in mason jars too, depending on what you're cooking.
Yeah.
If you don't have or don't want to use a plastic bag, you can put. If you're doing those egg bites, I really like doing egg bites in the sous vide cookers. And I always do them in a mason jar because then they can just stay in the fridge and they're always fresh.
Great idea. It's a great idea to get less plastic to have to deal with. Listen, with HelloFresh, because rice is every other meal, right? I've gotten really good at making stovetop rice, and I can make that and crush it every single time. It's one of those things you're just like, this is it. It's about timing and it's about the kind of rice that you get. Right.
Yes.
And so, a good jasmine rice, and we make rice sing now. I feel like rice used to be a mystery to me. It's like, not sure how people get this right. It's too sticky, too wet, too whatever.
That's me, Jim.
Well, HelloFresh has broken me of that completely. It cleans itself too. All of this, and then it cleans itself. Tell me that's true.
It sounds like an infomercial. But wait, Jim, there's more.
I just saw this as I was scrolling to the wrong thing, and I was like, "Wait a minute." I mean, I do a lot of the cleanup after dinner and such. A device like this cleans itself. Is it just pour water in it and turn it on, or how does it work?
Essentially, yeah, it's fill it up with water, and you can use hot or cold, a squirt of soap, and then turn it on, and it cleans itself fairly quickly. If you're doing something in there, maybe you're caramelizing something and it needs a bit more attention, there's a setting on it that'll tell you sort of how much water to put in, soap, and it may turn the heat function on to help it clean whatever's inside. But again, you can just leave it running, walk away. When you come back, it's all clean. And then what I just do is I'll pour the soapy water into a bowl in the sink and use it for cleaning other stuff.
Yeah. No, it's a great way to get it done. Okay. What I really want though, this sounds great, but I want this to be married to HelloFresh in the sense that what I'd really love to be able to do is at the beginning of the week, say, okay, I'm going to pick these 4 meals. And then it says, okay, go buy these things, right? So it group all the recipes, or it would make a recommendation of like, hey, these 4 meals have the most things in common for this week. So maybe that's the way to start it. Like, how many meals are you going to make this week? Okay, I want to cook 4 meals. Okay, we'll group these together so they have the most economy. Because like green onions, they're going to be in 3 of the 4 recipes, right? Or potatoes. Okay, you need to get a bag of potatoes because you're going to use them twice, right? Whatever. Then after I've come home from the grocery store, I want this machine to say, okay, today, go get these things, right? You need the things you just bought or whatever. Get these things, measure them out. Because I love to pre-measure everything before we start so that you're literally just doing the Gloria Childs. Was that her name? Gloria Childs? Did I get that right? The cooking. Julia Childs. There we go. The Julia Childs, because like anybody can cook when everything's measured out for them, right? So,
yes, that helps a lot.
I saw your eyes kind of light up when I said that. Do you have something like that?
I was looking because I want to say that's coming. I have no knowledge for sure.
Yeah.
But I think I was trying to see if that exists in Europe already. I don't see it in the US. Jim, if they don't already have it somewhere, I will bet you that is somebody somewhere is talking about it, because you're right, that's the next natural logical step.
Has to be. Actually HelloFresh could do this. Well, yeah, they could do a better job of doing this as a service where because today you get the individual portions is a big, there's a huge waste factor in this, right? And they wrap everything. It's in little tiny things. I'd like to be a little more efficient, or just be able to do it from the grocery store, right? The problem with the grocery store is you go to buy green onions and you got to buy like 12 of them. And you're like, well, I need 3, and I'm just making this thing. I just need 3. Well, then all of a sudden you're kind of thinking, okay, what else can I use green onions for? Well, that's ridiculous, right? So I just need a better way. I would love, we probably would eat 5 meals a week. And then if we could put some recipes together, so take like those HelloFresh recipes, put them where it would get smart and say, okay, here's how you economize these 5 recipes. Go to the store and then it just list. There's a list that it gives you, right?
You can search by ingredients with this, and it'll give you sort of recipe suggestions. So if you've got like ground beef or green onions, or like our garden is going crazy with kale right now, it'll sort of supply a whole bunch of recipes for you that you can use to use that kind of stuff up.
Ooh.
But to your point about the waste and stuff, it would almost be a really smart partnership for somebody like HelloFresh and Thermomix to partner with, because now you don't need to do the chop and the prep, because your robot's going to do that for you. So you don't need a little baggie of chopped onion. You just need the onion, because it's going to chop it and do everything for you. And, you don't need portioned things like butter. I don't know if you get that or not with HelloFresh.
No, not you have to use your own butter. Right? Yeah. You provide a butter and olive oil and salt, pepper, those kinds of things you provide. But, and then they do, I mean, like they don't cut the onion for you. You still have to cut it up. So, I mean,
you do. I thought it was coming like all chopped and portioned and stuff.
No, not the vegetables are fresh. So carrots whole, potatoes whole, onions whole, green onions whole. Then you cut them up. And I do enjoy that part of the cooking of, like, I'm the green onion man. I go through,
prep,
I cut those up. There's something satisfying about like a really sharp knife and a green onion. I don't know why, but there's something satisfying about cutting that up really sharp. And Sammy, my daughter, she likes to do the potatoes or the carrots. She likes to kind of chop the big stuff, right? And then we always split, not always, but we try to split the herbs. So thyme, or those just come in sprigs, and so you got to separate them. You got to, or the ginger, you got to peel and
right.
So, but this you're right. This could do that. You could say it's this HelloFresh recipe, and then it would do, and then it would just say, okay, put this in now or whatever, right? That would be pretty.
That's exactly how it works. And one last little thing, it'll make drinks. I used it to make cocktails.
Okay, so
how
does that work?
When I saw that.
Yes.
It'll tell you what to put in. So it'll, it came up with this blackberry bramble or something cocktail. And I just happened to have, blackberries in the fridge. So you stir them up, or chop them up, I guess, puree them in the Thermomix. It gets you to add the appropriate amount of gin. I think there was some honey or some maple syrup or something in there. And then a whole bunch of ice, and it just chops them up. The pictures of them, they look kind of like black more than purple, but the color was pretty intense. It was actually a really beautiful drink.
And was it tasty?
Yeah, it was good.
Was it tasty? Yeah, that's
when it's gin and fruit, not good.
No, we just bought a Huckleberry lemonade vodka from from my Huckleberries from Idaho. And that's the state right below you. And I know, Canadians don't always know U.S. geography very well, but it's right below you.
That one I know. I've got like Idaho, Montana, and Oregon figured out, and Washington.
Some of the best parts of the United States, as far as mountains go, anyways. So we got a Huckleberry lemonade infused with vodka, or vodka infused with that, and very, very tasty.
Now, have we talked about infusing vodka?
No. Are you doing that too?
With sous vide?
Yeah. Give us the quick rundown. How are you doing this?
The quick rundown is you put, again, mason jar, sous vide cooker. I haven't tried it in the Thermomix, but I've used it with our sous vide machine before. So fruit, lemon, like if you were going to do lemon huckleberry, you just drop lemon peel and huckleberries into some vodka in a mason jar. It goes in the sous vide cooker, and it usually likes to do it for, it was a couple of hours. And it just brings it enough to temperature so that it's not, burning off the alcohol or anything, but it's heating it up just enough to infuse the flavor into it. And then you take the fruit out, and then you've got this amazingly delicious, like naturally infused vodka. So I've done it with lemon. I've done it with strawberry. I've done it with ginger. And it is amazing. It makes such a difference.
Okay. I'll have to try that because that sounds
vodka or gin.
Okay. We've been doing cherry infused bourbon with my son. No, those are, we threw the cherries in, and we're going to let them sit till Thanksgiving, and then we're going to pull them. So not heat infused, but just time infused. But yeah, how long does it have to be in the that light just does not want to participate with you?
No, I think my light is done for the night.
It's okay.
It takes a couple hours.
Okay, couple hours. I'll have to give that a try. I've also been infusing bourbon into cigars. I bought a separate kind of humidor, so to speak. Tupperware is what we call them, right? Just a Tupperware sealer, kind of sealed rubber band, I think is the brand. And a little bit, you dry them out a little bit, and then you put the bourbon in, close it, and and I can monitor. I have a Govee humidistat that tells me the humidity in there. So when it gets to a certain humidity, I open it back up. It goes through another cycle, dries out. Then you close it back up.
So you're putting bourbon into like the humidifier instead of distilled water, which is what.
Yeah, just a cup. It's not even It's just a regular cup of, and you just put just a little bit of bourbon in there, and it.
You've given me 2 good ideas here tonight. I've got to tell that to my husband because he has a little small humidor that he keeps as well, and I don't know if it's ever occurred to him to put bourbon in it.
Well, if you want to do it separate,
infused bourbon is what we're gonna try next.
Yeah, once you've started this, that thing is going to be bourbon for life. So, like, make sure it's a separate. Yeah. Make sure it's a separate. But you just need a sealable container. And I bought one of those little $15 Govee humidistats, so I can kind of know. Okay, it's up to 95% humidity now. It's probably time to open it up and let it drop down to 60 or 65 or I've got it as low as 50. It'll get to 40 if you leave it long enough in an air conditioned space, and then close it back up, and it'll pull that moisture out of that cup. And then you have to replace the bourbon probably every 4 or 5 days, just because it'll dry out in there and get kind of sticky. But that's been what we've found, is that actually makes the cigars, they're like, sometimes they barrel age them so that you get the wood flavor in them, and these taste like bourbon, not wood, and it's just a different way of doing it. And then typically on a cigar, the last third is not the best part, but these infused ones, they're magic in the final third. Like, you go, this is really good. So takes 4 or 5 weeks. You're gonna put them in, let them sit for a couple weeks. We have found anywhere between 2 and 5 weeks is kind of the right thing to be in. And then take them out, put them in a bag, rehumidify them to get them back to where, I use a little Boveda pack, get them back to their 60, 65, whatever. Let them sit for a couple days, 3, 4, 5 days, and then they're ready to go.
Fantastic. I have lots of homework tonight, Jim.
Yeah, well, we covered a lot of ground, Erin. Thanks for coming on. And anything you're looking forward to from stuff you've got on order or review stuff coming in that you're excited about, and tell folks the best way to follow you for all that stuff.
I am reviewing Samsung's new M8 computer monitor, which is supposed to be the kind of alternate competitor to the fancy Apple monitor, which, costs an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
So I've got it here. I'm using it tonight. Not that you guys can see it, but so far, spectacular experience and beautiful design. So I'll have a review up on that in the next couple of weeks. The Samsung Frame TV review 2022 version will be coming. I've also got a few gadgets for back to school time. I'm checking out the new JBL Clip 4 portable wireless speaker. So if you're looking for something to send the kids off to school with or to their dorm at college with, I'll have
waterproof
JBL Clip 4. It is, I think it's IP67.
Okay. So
I'm going to try it in the shower, I think.
Whether you wouldn't want to sink it in water, but something that
probably not
will repel.
Float. And then I've got a little portable photo printer, the HP Sprocket photo printer. It prints little 3x4 photo stickers. So things the kids would like. So I'm going to check out a few of those. And yeah, that's kind of the highlights of what's coming in the next couple of weeks. You'll find it all at TechGadgetsCanada.com or TechGadgetsInternational.com.
And I say make sure they subscribe to your YouTube channel. That's the way I watch you. And the alerts show up and they say, hey, Erin has something new. And I pop over there and watch it. And I try to like it just as often as I can. And you could do that too. If you're listening or watching on YouTube, head over there and watch those, like them, make sure you're staying up to date.
Can I make one more plug for something? I just started a newsletter.
Oh, nice.
So if anyone is interested in receiving the newsletter, you can go on to TechGadgetsCanada.com or TechGadgetsInternational.com. Scroll to the bottom. You can sign up for the newsletter. And the newsletter is great because with every issue that comes out, we put them out every 2 weeks now. I'm trying to always have a tech giveaway. And this is a spoiler alert for your audience, Jim. The readership right now is small, so the chances of winning are excellent. So anyone who's listening now tonight should go and subscribe. And every week, like I said, we have this contest and you'll find out how to enter through the newsletter. But I'm trying to put in some really fun gadgets and giveaways, things that I like and I think the audience will like too. So
US and Canada or any
US and Canada. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, we'd love to have you on board.
Would I be ineligible or can I sign up for it too? If I won, would people be like, it's fixed?
I think you should.
It's the podcast guy.
I have a randomized computer program thing that picks winners. So maybe we'll let the audience judge. If they think it's not fair that you could potentially win, we can respect that.
I don't know. Audience, what do you think? Yes or no? Give it thumbs up or thumbs down if you want to do that. Couple on our way
in the comments somewhere.
On our way out, a couple chat room comments. Producer Bob got us the exact date, July 31st, 2022, George Jetson's birthday. So that he is now 18 days old. And we just got to find him. Some happy birthday. Well, happy 2 month or no, 18 days, whatever. Bob also agreed with you with your egg bites. And then he said, or find a local food service that will supply you with a takeaway or delivery for the meals for these devices. That'd be a little tough because it's a pretty expensive device and getting that specific may be difficult, but I like the idea. And then Bob asked me, any bourbons work better than others? And I said, I say the one you really like. And I've actually tried a couple different ones. I don't know if it matters that much, but certainly the more flavor the bourbon has, I think the better. He said Angel's Envy or Woodford Reserve Double Oaked. The Double Oaked, if you want to get that real flavor in it, yeah, the Double Oaked for sure would be a good. And if you like those, and so let's see, Bob subscribed to the newsletter. Producer Bob, sorry, I got to get that title right. Producer Bob. Brian said, do it. So I can win. That's good. And then it
all
says,
right.
We're all in it to win it. Of course you can win. So the producer Bob says it's okay. So then I think it's okay. Erin, thanks for coming on tonight. Can you hang tight with me for 1 sec?
Yes,
while I close this thing up. Okay. So just a couple reminders on the way out. If you want to take the conversation to the Discord channel, theaverageguy.tv/Discord. If you want to jump in there, lots of good conversation. Actually, a lot of good deals in there of late. So if you want to jump in and get there, you can do that as well. If you want to leave me a voicemail message, and why wouldn't you? HomeGadgetGeeks.com. There's a little blue button in the bottom right-hand corner. Leave a message. And then email me telling me you've left a message because I don't always get those emails. And it's that one sat out there for a while. So Jim at theaverageguy.tv if you want to send me an email. By the way, Google shut down all their free business accounts. So, years ago, 10 years ago, I set up theaverageguy.tv domain on Google for free. Remember those days Microsoft had it and Google had it, and you could just set up a free email domain wherever. No longer. They converted all those to 14-day business accounts and then said, when the business account was over, your email's over. And literally, Erin, like they sent me an email the day before, hey, today is the last day. And you kind of go, yeah, whatever, right? You can picture me. Yeah, whatever. This morning, was it this morning? Yesterday morning? I woke up, I think it was yesterday. And I got the squiggly line on the email, meaning it's been
Frogger sound.
Yeah, completely disconnected. And I'm like, crap. So I go to my Gmail account and I remembered in that day I had set up like 9 different podcasts at theaverageguy.tv, info at theaverageguy.tv. Why I thought everybody needed all these email addresses, right? Christian had one, Rich had one, everybody had one. I had 9. And they wanted to charge me $3 each. And it's like $27 a month free now. So we deleted them all. I have 2, Jim at theaverageguy.tv, and of course Christian for Cyber Frontiers has Christian at theaverageguy.tv. $6 a month. And as soon as I hit purchase, the squiggly line went boop. Like I could not believe how fast they enabled email. It was like, boop, it's there again. So if you have a Google account, especially the business account, like if you opened a free email a while ago, you might want to double check it. Its chances are it's going to expire here on you, and you're going to have to either pay for it or close it down completely. There's not too many free I tell you what, if you don't want to pay Google, you can go to Christian. Go to maplegrovepartners.com. He has hosting plans for $10. Email is $5. A great deal and a great way to do email if that's what you want to do. I hadn't planned to make that connection, but I did. And so if you want to head over to maplegrovepartners.com, get high-speed hosting and email hosting. And I thought, yeah, okay, you're saying, well, why didn't you go to Christian? It was just easier to pay $6 to Google, turn it back on, than what's your MMX record? What's the, you got to, when you're setting up email, you got to get all this stuff, right? You got to get tech guys involved. It's just easier to pay Google $6 and get it done. We are live every Thursday, 8 p.m. Central, 9 Eastern. I think I mentioned this before, but the one who shall not be mentioned, who is dead to us, Mike Uyghur, he'll be on next week. I think that's next week. I should double check.
Hey, Mike.
He will be back, and he was sad that he was missing you, Erin, but I'm
sad to miss Mike. Please say hi to him for me.
His kids started school this week, and so that's been, and this is that first year, and so it's been, he was like, no, I can't make it. So Mike is coming back next week, and then we got a whole host of guests coming on, including Bob and Ryan are coming back from thinkcomputers.org. We'll be back next Thursday with Uyghur, and of course it'll be party time. And with that, we'll say goodbye, everybody. Erin, thanks a ton. I won't hold you any longer. I know it's warm. Hopefully it's not a sweat box in the studio there. I'm
gonna go find it. No, it's not so bad in here. I'm gonna go find out how cool my bedroom is, though.
Oh, good. Get a cocktail. Get a vodka infused cocktail. I
refresh a little into that glass.
Yeah, no, for sure. Thanks for coming out. And I will send you a note when I post it this weekend. So
I will absolutely share.
All right. Thanks, Erin. Take care.
Bye, Jim. Have a great night.
Take care. Guys, thanks for coming out tonight. Appreciate you guys coming out. Fun to have you. Brian, thanks for subscribing to that. Kevin says, woohoo for Mike next week. Yeah, I'm kind of excited to have him back. And so it'll be good to chat with him. Good night, all. John, good to see you as well. And hope you have a good night. We'll see you guys next Thursday night. Jump in a little bit early, maybe, and Uyghur and I will be out here. We'll have a pour of some kind, and then a lot of catching up to do with Uyghur, and a lot of good stuff. We'll see you next Thursday. Everybody have a great weekend, and take care.